And it looks like we are live. So good evening, everyone. This is the Democratic Party of York County's live chat with our candidates. And we're thrilled to have with us tonight our current state representative in the 95th State House District, Carol Hill Evans. Carol is up for re-election this year, and we are excited to be supporting her and getting out the vote for her, not only in York City, but also in West York, Spring Garden Township, you know, kind of all over the 95th. We want to make sure that we're getting the vote out for her. So again, you know, welcome, Carol. I know obviously as a legislator, it's a busy schedule. Obviously, when you're running every 2 years, it adds, you know, more to your schedule as well. And then certainly, you know, your involvement, you do a lot in the community as well. And certainly we know, you know, finding, you know, even 15, 20 minutes, half hour to sit down and do an interview like this is tough, but we certainly appreciate that. So welcome tonight.
Thank you.
Yep, I'm just going to start off. I'm going to give you the floor and allow you to, you know, do a brief introduction. Tell us a little bit about yourself for folks that maybe don't know, and you know, just give us, you know, really kind of anything you want to say right here at the beginning. You can go ahead and do that.
Okay, well, thank you, Chad, and thank you for organizing this. It's always good, and yes, you know, we talk about the time and the time constraints and how much it takes, but it's always time well spent. When you're given the opportunity to meet with constituents, because as much as I go around and I've been around, and I assume that people know me, there are a lot of people who don't, and so it's always a good opportunity to just say hi and let people know who I am. So I am State Representative Carol Hill Evans. I am a lifelong resident of the city of York, born and raised right here in York City. Went through all York's schools and graduated York High, began my college career at Gettysburg, came home after a couple years, went to work for Caterpillar, retired there after 27 years. I, you know, married. I have 2 children, 2 daughters, both grown, and grandchildren that are the love of my life. I ended up getting my degree from Penn State York as an adult. When Caterpillar decided that they were going to close the plant, I needed to have a career, and it was an opportunity for me to complete my education. So I went back to school, went back to Penn State, graduated, and got my associate's degree 1 year, and then was able to get my bachelor's degree the following year. And so accumulation of everything that I had done, you know, while I was at Gettysburg. I began my political career as city council. Actually, prior to that, I served on the York City Planning Commission for 1.5 years and decided that just due to some unfortunate incidents that were occurring on city council, I was working then at Harley-Davidson after I had retired from Caterpillar. And as I was sitting at the lunch table and listening to how people were making fun of, you know, they called it, they said, if you want to get a good laugh, watch York City Council. Those clowns, and they proceeded to talk about York City and York City Council. And it hurt my feelings to the point where I said, you know what, I've got to do something about this, because there's no sense in sitting here getting angry and getting hurt feelings unless I am going to do something to make it better. So the opportunity came to run for city council. I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew that I could do better than what was going on at the time. And so I ran along with Genevieve Ray. We ran on civility, just being civil to one another. So I'm pleased to say that after 9 years of serving on York City Council, by the time I left there, York City Council meetings were the most boring meetings ever, because all we did was take care of city business. There were no more antics, no more choking each other, no more, you know, acting out in front of reporters and, you know, and cameras and all of that. We were doing what we were elected to do, and that was to run the city of York. And so I was just thrilled, you know, that I was able to go from there and then be elected to the State House. When the opportunity came, I thought, this is where I was when I first started city council, had no idea what it was about. But the opportunity came, I raised my hand, and here I am. And I can tell you, it's been a whirlwind. It's hard to believe that it's been 4 years. And well, I'm actually in my 4th year. And so I'm pleased. I'm very pleased, very happy to be serving my community. And I didn't know that I was a public servant, that I had it in my spirit, but here I am, and I just love it. So
Yeah, well, we certainly appreciate your dedication to the city, and obviously now for the last 4 years in your district as well. And that actually leads me right into my first question, and it's very simple. You know, for most people, if they're not aware, a term for a state legislator, for a state representative, is 2 years, and you're kind of constantly going through the reelection cycle, basically. And as you said, you know, you're in your 4th year right now, so you're finishing up your 2nd term and looking for reelection for a 3rd term. So I think really kind of the basic question then is, you know, why should voters be sending you back to Harrisburg this year?
Because the residents of the 95th district need someone who's dedicated, and I am dedicated. They need someone who doesn't mind doing the work. I'm a hard worker. I've proven that. They need someone who understands the nuances of the 95th district, whether it's through economics, whether it's through education, whether it's through job needs, whether it, you know, whatever the situation is, they need someone in Harrisburg to be able to stand up and say, in my district, and then whatever it is, to be able to represent. I'm that person. I don't do it with a lot of yelling and screaming, although I have a big mouth and I'm not afraid to use it. I will use it, you know, on behalf of the 95th district. I am the first one to stand up in front of anyone when they say, where do you represent? I say, I represent York. And they say, well, okay, so what's the big deal with York? And I say, if you're in air conditioning, go outside and see what's on the name of that air conditioner. It probably says York. That's us. And if you've ever seen York peppermint patties, get the sensation? That's York. And so I'm very proud to be from York and to represent the constituents in a way where, you know, as a leader, you have to have certain qualities. I have those qualities. My tagline is leading with integrity. And so that's how I represent the people of the 95th district. I bring the money into the district. I visit my schools within the district. I'm always teaching, you know, the children, inviting them to come to the house so that they can see their house and what we do. And so that's why people should vote me back in, because I represent my district.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, and absolutely. I know. Obviously, you talk about being proud of York. I know I so frequently have heard you talk about, you know, going to high school in York.
Mm-hmm.
And Bearcats. I hear that from you so much, and
Yeah.
you know, you can just tell in conversations that you're proud of your home city, and you're proud of you know, where you grew up, essentially, and I think that definitely shows in your leadership. So again, thank you for that. Obviously, you know, over the course of your first 2 terms in office, there's a lot of things that I'm sure you're proud of, a lot of accomplishments that have occurred. What, if you had to pinpoint what your top accomplishment was in that time, what would you say you're most proud of, or what you feel is your top accomplishment?
It's hard to pinpoint one, but I would say overall, I am exceedingly proud of the fact that under my watch, I was able to bring in close to $30 million into the 95th district. Mm-hmm. And I'm just immensely proud of that. We have the money that went to our schools, our school districts. We have money that have gone to our small businesses. We have money that have gone to, you know, to help the homeless, to help those with mental health and IDD diagnoses. We have money for new projects like Kid Space that's opening, like the Yorktown Hotel, like so many other businesses that have opened within the 95th. We have, you know, going to our fire and our police. All those dollars total between 28 and $30 million. I'm exceedingly proud of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, excellent. So obviously, one of the more volatile issues that is in front of all of us right now is criminal justice reform, and we've obviously been hearing a lot more about that since the George Floyd murder and Breonna Taylor, and we want to make sure that that gets addressed, and we know that. You, along with the governor, have actually already made steps to activate criminal justice reform here in the state of Pennsylvania. What else would you propose to help us continue to build on those reforms that, as I said, you and the governor have already put into motion?
So I'm exceedingly proud of what has already been started, and that was kind of in terms of police reform. But now there's a different kind of reform, and an incentive that I am working on now is through the judicial system, whereby we have folks who have criminal records simply because when they're going into court, they sometimes have a choice. So they can choose to pay a fine or take the conviction. And when we look at the amounts of these fines that exceed $1,000 and they have 30 days to pay for it, they take the conviction because there's no way that they can pay that $1,000, because they know that if they don't pay, it's going to 25% over that is going to be added. And then they only have another 30 days. And so every 30 days, 25 more percent is added on to that. Rather than to do that and know that they can't pay this money, they're taking convictions. We need to do something about that. So I am going to be introducing a bill that would cap that amount. We're not saying we don't want people to pay their fines. We're not saying that they shouldn't be punished. They should. But we should not allow the law that is made to make it a little easier on them, just completely negate that by making it so much more difficult. And so I have talked to common pleas judges, and this is something that they have recommended. This is something that we can do. It should be an easy lift, and it's going to help so many people when they come in after they've done something completely silly, maybe a small amount of marijuana, or maybe had some, drug paraphernalia, something very minimal that now has been like decriminalized, but yet they're getting punished and they're being turned into a criminal because of the fines that are compounding one on top of the other. So that's a different side or a different piece of criminal justice that I think would help. It's a start. It's not the big one like some of the two that we passed, the 1910 and I think it was 1840 or 1841 that we passed. Those are significant and they're huge and they're all steps in the right direction. And so I will keep looking for ways that we can, help those that are in the criminal justice system when the system that is supposed to help them is working against them.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, thank you for your work on that. Obviously, like I said, it's obviously a very volatile issue right now. It's something that has really come to light, and certainly from a York County perspective, we're very proud of the work that you and, as I said, Governor Wolf have done to, as you said, begin that conversation and begin to make those changes that are necessary. It's not something that I don't think any of us believe that it's going to happen overnight, but with these critical first steps, it does help move in the right direction. So thank you absolutely for that. Changing gears a little bit, we talked obviously about you being from York City and spending some time there. This question kind of goes right along with that. A lot of times the state house, the state legislature in general, is criticized for having really an unchallenging calendar. And frequently that's because legislators just are not present, when they're not in session. They're not present in their districts. So just kind of, just as kind of a hypothetical, what is one of your days when you're not in session? What does one of your days look like as a state rep in the 95th?
Well, I have to tell you, it looks a little different now than it used to, because we are not traveling the way we used to. But we always say that in order to have legislation that is meaningful, for the Commonwealth, you have to know what's going on in other parts of the Commonwealth. It's one thing to hear a story from a legislator. It's something else to actually go and visit those areas and see firsthand what is happening in the Northeast, what's happening over in the western part, like Allegheny County or Erie, what's happening over in Philadelphia, or what's happening in Center County. And so we do have the opportunity, and I am fortunate that I am serving on the Tourism and Recreation Committee. And so I do get the opportunity to visit. But quite often when we have policy hearings, we get to go to these policy hearings. And so we're in Harrisburg. Even though we're not in session, we're still in Harrisburg, fulfilling our obligations to attend policy hearings. And then committees. Everybody serves on 4. I'm currently on 5 committees. And so whenever we have committee meetings, we have those either in Harrisburg, or sometimes we'll bring them to a different city. So, we might do that in a day. And then we have community events. And there's always a meeting, whether it's on Zoom, whether it's on Teams, there's always meetings that we just need to attend. The only way that I personally feel like you're better qualified as a legislator when you are attending meetings and getting the information that you need, so that you can help to create and support, effective and enforceable legislation. And so after this one, I have another meeting, my final meeting for tonight. I had a meeting that started at 1. So from 1 o'clock until about 8 o'clock, that's 7 hours, even though it might not be in the morning. So in the morning, I'm in my district office. And then in the afternoon into the evening are meetings. And so, and then on the weekends, we have community events. Last weekend we did voter registration drive, as you know. And so there are always opportunities to do those kinds of things in the community. As I said, on Saturday, my church had a food giveaway. We were helping to feed the community and the homeless. And so that was, an opportunity to be in the community, to let them know, hey, I'm here, and it doesn't need to have a big announcement. People just know. They know when you're there. They know when you care. And I consider myself to be one of the most accessible legislators around, elected officials, because a lot of times you hear about elected officials, but you never get to see them. And so I don't want to be one of those legislators. I want to be, an elected official that was voted in by the people, and I'm not afraid to be with the people. And so I attend city council meetings, borough council meetings, township supervisor meetings, and just to let them know and to see if they have any questions or concerns. So that's kind of a day.
And I appreciate you going through that, because I think a lot of folks don't recognize the fact that, there is a lot more to being a legislator than just being in session, and while obviously you do an amazing job to be out in the community and be present, sometimes the legislating part of it takes you away from that. So it's kind of a catch-22. You want to be with your constituents, but you also want to be representing them in the legislature as well. So again, thanks for the time that you're giving us tonight, because we know, obviously, if we're right in the middle of a bunch of meetings, hopefully this is a little easier than those meetings. I don't know. So.
Yeah, this is fun. This is good stuff.
Good. So we're now at the portion of our little chat here where we've done this with a few other candidates this year, and this is the rapid fire part of it. What we do is give you a topic, and you can say yay or nay, or yes, you agree with that, or no, you oppose that. We'll run through them, and at the end, if there's one or two that you want to go back and make a few more points on, you can. We won't, suppress you too much with that. Well, obviously, these are things I think that every candidate, every legislator probably could go on for hours talking about them. But we're going to do them kind of in rapid succession here, and like I said, we'll give you a chance to maybe talk about a few of those then as well. So let's just jump right into it. So the first one is, are you in favor or not in favor of increasing the minimum wage?
In favor.
Yes. How about, again, I think I probably know the answer to this one, but pay equity for women.
Oh, are you kidding me? Yes, I'm in favor of that.
How about for stronger gun safety legislation?
Absolutely. Yes, in favor.
How about the death penalty? Are you in favor or opposed to the death penalty?
Not in favor. Not in favor of the death penalty.
Yeah. Um, Hot button topic always in the state legislature. What about eliminating property taxes? Are you in favor of eliminating or opposed to eliminating?
Opposed to eliminating, but we're going to come back to that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. I thought maybe that would be one you'd come back to.
Uh-huh.
How about investing in our state's infrastructure?
Yes, in favor.
Yeah. Yeah. And kind of very much along those lines, investing in green industries, technology, green jobs locally as well.
In favor.
Yeah. And again, I think I know the answer on this, but how about ending voter suppression, specifically through curbing the gerrymandering that sometimes happens?
We cannot allow that to happen. We have to stop suppressing people's votes. We have to.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was it for the rapid fires. I'll let you go back. I know you wanted to talk a little bit about property tax. Like I said, it's always a button issue. So yeah.
It really is. And when I first ran, that was what my opponent ran on. It was the only issue he had was property tax elimination. That's a topic that has happened for the last 30, maybe 35 years that they've been talking about property tax elimination. I am absolutely in favor of reform, but in order for us to eliminate, we would have to figure out a way that we could get 14 billion with a B dollars to replace that, because that is what supplies our schools with the dollars that they need. And our schools are already, a lot of our schools are already under fire because of budget cuts. And so, yeah, I'm in favor of relief. Representative Madden and I have legislation that would offer a $2,000 to a $2,500 credit to our seniors. So those who are 65 and over, they would get a credit up to $2,500. And for 75% of those who would be eligible, that would more than eliminate their property taxes. The others, it would reduce it significantly. So it's a first step, and it offers, some relief to our most vulnerable, or the ones that need it the most, our seniors, those who are over 65. So I am in favor of reform. I just right now don't see a path forward to elimination.
Yeah, I agree. I thank you for going back to that, because I think that's, as you said, that tends to be one of the issues that, I don't know, seems to be, elimination sounds great, but then you have to recognize what we lose by eliminating it, and to supplement that elsewhere means, we've got to find, like you said, that money from other corners of the budget and other taxes potentially. So, I think it's a lot, as you said, reform is the key there. It's not necessarily focusing on the elimination part of it, but making it better for those that absolutely need it. So thank you for that clarification, because again, I think that's another one of those issues that folks just, obviously when you hear eliminate, it's like, yeah, I'm all for that, but realize you're going to probably be paying for it elsewhere as well too. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So we've come to the end of the chat here tonight. I want to give you an opportunity, obviously, for any final remarks. Let folks know where they can get more information about your campaign, if they're interested in contributing either as a volunteer or obviously financially to your campaign. Let them know where they can go, and floor is yours.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you for this opportunity. This was actually a fun part of my day. I always have a lot of fun. Not so much, it's not so easy to talk about yourself, but I don't mind talking about some of the things that I've done on behalf of my constituents, because that's what motivates me. And so I'm pleased to be here. I hope that everybody will vote November 3rd. But first they have to get registered. So please, everybody, get registered. I want to remind everybody about the census. When we talk about the services that our our townships, boroughs, and cities need, we can get those dollars from the federal level if we are part of the census. So we have to complete the census. Those dollars go to our fire and EMT, they go to our police, they go to our services that we need, throughout our city. We talk about roads, those dollars will bring dollars in so that we can repair our roads. And I'm here to tell you, in the city of York, we need those dollars. So please complete the census. If you would like to contribute, all checks would be made payable to supporters for Carol Hill Evans, and they could be mailed to 1021 South Pine Street in York. If they want to see more about me, they can look for door hangers. We are not doing, knocking on doors, but we are doing door hangers. And so on Saturdays, we go out and we, go to a certain area and we just are in that area. If I happen to, see people who are out and they want to have a conversation, I'm always happy to talk. As you can see, I don't have a problem talking. So, but also I have a website. I am on Facebook as well, but I do have a website, and it's at Weebly, WEEBLY.com/Carol Hill Evans for the 95th. And so I hope to see you. You'll see me around town. You'll see me every Thursday at 5 o'clock. I have a Facebook Live. Of course, this Thursday we will be on vacation, but every Thursday after that, from 5 to 5:30, we are on Facebook. And so I've had Kevin Schreiber come on. I've had Sandy Walker come on. Eugene DePasquale has joined me. And so, I get a chance to chit chat. They get a chance to, to just interact with those folks who may have questions. So that's a fun thing to do. And I'm always out in the community. When I'm not in Harrisburg, I'm out in the community. So I hope to see everyone in the community. Thank you, Chad, and thank you to the DPOYC. My office is located at headquarters, although we really haven't been there much because we've been more out in the community. And so, but they can stop there and get, if they want yard signs, if they want any of my literature, it's all there at 135 South Duke Street.
Yeah, great. Thank you again. And again, thanks for bringing up the census as well. The deadline on that's been extended to September 30th, correct? Is that? Yeah.
Yes.
And I know that in talking to some folks that York City is always a tough place to do the census, and again, it's really important for everyone to be counted, because that does account for so many things, whether it's just representation or money or what have you. So thank you for reminding folks of that. That's very important. And I'm just going to put a plug in at this point for the Democratic Party of York County. Obviously, this is a huge election year for us. 2020, there's so much on the line, from the presidency to our congressional races, and then obviously our state house and state senate races as well are absolutely critical. Something I always like to share when we talk about the state house is that, actually state government in general, Republicans have had control in Harrisburg for 20 of the last 25 years. So when individuals point and say Harrisburg's broken and there are issues that need to be resolved that never are resolved in Harrisburg, 20 out of 25 years, I think we know who to blame. So putting more Democrats into office, sending more Democrats back to Harrisburg, like you, Carol, is absolutely top priority. And you're going to find that, just as you do, the Democrats that get elected will be representing all voices and not just the select few. So anything you can do to support the party, anything you can do to support Carol between now and Election Day, which is 72 days away. I can't believe we're already there. But,
where'd the time go? Oh my gosh.
But anything that anyone can do, we're more than happy to have you as a volunteer, financially, as a contributor. There's a lot to do. So get in touch with us. Our website is yorkdems.org. And we'll be happy to, follow up with you with any information there as well. Again, Carol, thank you so much for your time tonight. I really appreciate it, and good luck. And we've got your back the whole way through November 3rd and beyond. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Chad. I appreciate it. And you continue to be safe.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.